These suburbs just outside of Houston are about to explode with enormous growth and billions of dollars in development. We are talking massive city centers, luxury hotels, resort style living, the biggest Volkswagen dealership you've ever seen in the world, yes, the world, and even a Tesla mega factory. If you think the suburbs are sleepy, think again. These places are about to change forever. In today's video, I'm gonna take you inside the future of Houston's fastest growing suburbs. We're going to explore together the jaw-dropping projects already breaking ground, the mega master plan communities adding thousands upon thousands of new homes and entertainment, dining, and job hubs that are transforming these towns into literally full-blown destinations. So whether you're planning a move, looking for the next big investment opportunity, or just simply curious about what's coming in the area, this is the inside scoop that you do not want to miss. What's up guys, Andrew Lake here with the Life in Houston, a YouTube channel brokered by Greystone Realty. We help people just like you buy, sell, and relocate here to Houston, Texas every single month. So if you do plan on making a move sometime in the future, all my information is in the description box down below. So let's go ahead and get started. I got my computer pulled up. I'm gonna show you some things that you definitely don't want to miss out on the explosive growth that is happening here in Houston. Okay, so full disclosure here, we're not talking about suburbs that all have already exploded, you know, like Katy or the Woodlands or Cypress or Sugarland. Everybody knows about those if you're familiar with the Houston region. Those have already exploded and they are continuing to explode. There's tons of new construction all over Katy, tons of new construction all over Cypress. However, we're gonna focus on some things today that have been flying under the radar, and this, in my opinion, is something that you definitely don't want to miss out on moving into 2026. We're gonna look at 4 different suburbs of Houston, and we're gonna go over what's coming commercially, and then also go over what's coming residentially, so you can see the type of investment that's pouring into these areas. So let's go ahead and dive into my computer, and the first thing that I want to show you or talk to you about is a little known suburb called Friendswood, Texas. And it actually happens to be one of my favorite suburbs simply because it's very nice over there in Friendswood, and also it happens to be the safest suburb. So let's pull up and take a look at what's going on in Friendswood, Texas. So here in Friendswood, there's a ton of commercial development going on. The first thing over here, look, you see how they have them numbered. So we have 16 different, this is semi-updated. This has actually been added to recently, so it's missing a few things, which we are going to get to. But let's talk about some commercial things that are going on. The Bristol. So the Bristol is a project that includes 232 55 and older communities or residential units with amenities such as resort-style clubhouses, a detention lake, fountains, walking trails, and huge interior upgrades above market standards. There'll be 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units ranging from 790 to 1,161 square foot. Now, this is gonna be a little bit past downtown on FM 518 in Friendswood, Texas. So those of you who are maybe looking for active adult communities, this is a good opportunity to check that out. So let's keep going. It's a gas station when we talk about that. Let's talk about the Albritton, because every time I drive through downtown Friendswood, I keep seeing this thing and they're making some really good progress. So let's check, what is the Albritton? So the Albritton here is a retail and restaurant that's using the frontage road on 518 on the ground level, and offices are gonna be in there as well, and they're gonna have all kinds of stuff. Check this out, look, they're gonna have Class A apartments on floors 2, 3, and 4, a swimming pool, fire pits, other outdoor features will be provided on the 2nd floor for the residents of the apartments. The development across the street is gonna be Spreading Oaks. There'll be a dog park, improved outdoor space with the development of city. So they're gonna have a lot. Let's actually click on this so I can show you. So you can see all the retail that's pretty much gonna be at the ground level. Now this is actually a pretty exciting addition to the Friendswood community. So they're actually gonna have some cool stuff here going on. They're also gonna have office uses for this as well. So those of you who want to rent an office for your business, you can do that. Now let's talk about these two. It's actually just one. So this is, let me show you where I'm at right now. This is actually gonna be the Friendswood City Center, which is a huge thing coming to the community. So this right here is 45, I-45, so it's the major freeway that's gonna split. So Friendswood, I should have said this for those of you who aren't familiar with the area. Friendswood is actually located south of Houston. So let me pull this out. So you can see right in here, that is Houston. Downtown Houston is right in the heart of there. So you take 45, it's like smack in the middle between Galveston Island down here and downtown Houston right there. So this is where Friendswood is located, right off of 45. And it's gonna be landlocked between Pearland and League City, which we're gonna talk about League City here in just a minute. But this huge thing right here, this city center, number 5. So let's go back into the city center and let's discuss what's going on over here, because this is actually pretty remarkable about what they're doing. So the city center is gonna be a mixed use development combining commercial, retail, hospitality, office, civic center, municipal mixed use buildings, and multifamily residential, which is 500 units. And they're gonna have a recreation open space to create a vibrant walkable neighborhood or a walkable area. There's actually going to be a 52-acre park. I think that'll probably be over here because Friendswood is actually going to take hold of this park. So actually this park, the developer Thanos is actually donating the 50-acre park to the city of Friendswood. So this is a massive development coming to the area. This is huge. I mean, look how big this thing is going to be. They're going to have ponds there. They're going to have all kinds of stuff there. Restaurants, entertainment, full service hotel. They're gonna have public parks and trails. They're even gonna include some drainage improvements over there, which is always nice. But Friendswood City Center is actually something that a lot of people are really looking forward to. They're also gonna have a hotel, which is interesting to say the least. That's pretty nice. And they're also gonna have over 4 miles of trails, fishing lakes. They're gonna have a theater, check this out. They're also gonna have a theater with bowling, 14 auditoriums, a full service restaurant, an arcade, 5 specialty large format screens, one being the largest ScreenX auditorium in the world. Now that is pretty freaking cool. All right, Friendswood Community Hospital. Now this one is still, I just drove by this one the other day. This one is pretty much nearing its grand opening. I know that the Friendswood Chamber of Commerce just hosted an event there for their grand opening, but it's not open to the public yet. We'll keep on going. This is just some just commercial buildings that they're going, that they're building right now. Now, Sterling Falls Venue. Let's talk about this one. This is pretty cool. So Sterling Falls Venue is a new luxury wedding and event venue, banquet center. So that's honestly pretty nice to have because I don't think Friendswood does have any kind of banquet center around there. And then we'll keep on moving. So Castle Bioscience is another one that's being built right now, actually. When I was driving through Friendswood, you can see this. Castle Biosciences is just a biotech company, and they are bringing in some additional revenue and bringing in some employees here in the Friendswood area. So what's also really nice is I really want you guys to understand that whenever, here, I'll pull this up so you can see my Word document. If you want a copy of this, let me know and I'll just forward this over to you. But you can see everything up here. So whenever you see a commercial development, or you see a lot of companies coming in, a lot of companies pouring revenue or pouring money and just investing into the suburb overall, that should be an indicator to tell you that the suburb itself is extremely healthy. The city, wherever commercial is pouring in, is extremely healthy, and you can always expect some sort of economic prosperity to come from it, because if there's no commercial activity whatsoever, that's probably an indication that there's something wrong about the area and nobody wants to be there, no companies want to invest there. So my friends, Friendswood is absolutely on the rise. And so that kind of just tells you a little bit, just a tiny little sliver of what's going on commercially in the Friendswood area. Now let's get to what we're probably all waiting on, and that is the residential part of Friendswood. So Midline is the big one, coming in 2026, 1,666 acres, 2,800 single family homes. It's gonna have parks, signature trails. It's gonna cut through the community. They're gonna have a Midline club. And so they are breaking ground right now, developing the actual, the area with streets, roads, drainage, things like that. And so they're expecting summer 2027 to go ahead and get that started, to start selling lots to everybody. But check this out. You can see the master plan for this. Remember I told you where 45 was a second ago. So here is 45 right here. This is NASA Parkway, or AKA 528 over here on the Friendswood side. And here's Bay Area. Those of you familiar with the area, Baybrook Mall is going to be right in here. So check out how big this master plan is actually going to be. It extends from 528 pretty much all the way past Bay Area Boulevard. And in a future case, it's actually going to come over here and extend very close to El Dorado Boulevard. And you can see the red is going to be pretty much reserved for commercial opportunities, commercial development. And then coming back south, it goes even further than that. It crosses over 528 down south of 528, and Beamer's actually going to continue all the way through to Grissom Road down in here. Now this is pretty amazing considering that there really isn't a lot of land left in Friendswood itself. It's pretty much almost at 100% completion built out. There's really not a whole lot of room when it comes to residential developments like this. So this is actually a pretty dang big deal coming in here into the Friendswood area. Now you can see how big this is, and it's going to be over again, so 1,000 acres and 2,800 single family homes. That is a big deal in the Friendswood area. Now let's move on to another neighborhood that is actually about to be built as well. And you can see on the screen right here, it's actually called Georgetown. So Georgetown is going to be a little bit south, a little bit more south on the outskirts of town of Friendswood, coming all the way towards the Alvin area. So it's on the outskirts of Alvin and on the outskirts, right on the outskirts of Alvin and Friendswood. So check this out, approximately 312 lots. And there's going to be 312 lots in Friendswood, sorry, and 71 lots in Alvin. So like I said, there's going to be, it's on the outskirts of Alvin, so a small little sliver of that neighborhood is actually going to be into Alvin, and the other portion, the largest portion, is going to be in Friendswood. More than likely going to be Zone 2 Friendswood ISD, which is also a huge deal. Now here, I'll try to zoom this in so you can see the master plan for this. And there's 528, that NASA Road Parkway that we keep talking about. And you can see the master plan here of how big this area is actually going to be. It's not, as big as Midline with 2,800 homes that's about to come into here, but hey, at least there's another development, another opportunity. So we have two major opportunities for Friendswood when it comes to these homes or these residential developments that are being built. Georgetown and Midline are gonna be the top two in Friendswood as of the making of this video, rolling on into 2026 or 2027. And if I'm going too fast for you, there won't be a problem, I do apologize, but what I will do is I will link everything that we talk about into the description box down below, so you can click around as well. If you're watching this on your phone or you're on your computer, you can click around and you can take a look at everything that I am looking at right now. Alternatively, if you are watching this on your TV, then if you want to reach out to me, I can give you all these links as well, or I can give you anything that we're taking a look at today so you can scan through for yourself and see what's going on. Moving on to League City, which is going to be the suburb right next to Friendswood and also below Friendswood, I guess, if I have to think about it actually. But League City, man, this is mind-blowing. This area is exploding more than the day after Taco Tuesday nights. I'm telling you, this thing is going crazy over here. There's all kinds of stuff in the works, and I'm about to show you how crazy this is. The development is like just to put this in perspective, Highway 99, proposed 99, is gonna run straight through some of these developments, and you're about to see it's crazy. But let's talk about a little bit what's going on commercially. Again, start with commercial, just to prove to you guys that development is starting to pour into these areas, billions of dollars worth of commercial development and residential development, so you can see how healthy the suburb actually is, because it's very important. You don't want to purchase a house somewhere where it's just dead in the water, right? Your investment's never going to increase in value, or it varies slightly, I guess, over time. But in this case, things are starting to move very fast. Things are moving very quickly. So let's get into it. League City, over here we have Riverview at Clear Creek. I'm not gonna focus too much on all of this. We have a 59-acre development. This is commercial, and there's a 100-slip marina. Now this is gonna be on the east side of League City, or the east side of 45, closer to the water. They're gonna have hotel, restaurants, 285-unit multifamily project, 53 townhomes. They're gonna have an amphitheater, boardwalk and trails, retail space and restaurants. And then we'll go into, I won't touch on this, but you can see there's all kinds of stuff going on here. And Plaza 96 is gonna be a mixed-use development over there on League City Parkway, which is 96. This is gonna be a 75,000 square foot retail, restaurant, medical office, space, all that good stuff. And then of course, all these little strip centers that are coming in as well, which is nice. Now UTMB is actually a really big hospital down here in the League City region, right off of Highway 45. Now their latest completion was a 5-story, 264,000 square foot patient tower. Now phase 3 of that has been approved, and they're gonna expand from 5 stories to to 11 stories, which is crazy. So that tower right there has 97 beds for the hospital, but they're expanding up to 300 beds. So that's a project cost of over $250 million. So they are expanding UTMB, which is great. It's a great hospital. And then let's talk about the Aura at Beacon Island. A developer plans 69 patio homes, 95 townhomes, 250 to 350 garden style apartments, 4.5 acres of parks, 12,100 feet of trails. Why didn't they just say 2 miles? I don't know, two something miles of trails. And then Beacon Island is on the Lighthouse Boulevard and Marina Bay Boulevard in League City. So here's one I also want to talk about too. Check this out. So the Pat Halsey Park is to be built near the intersection of Calder Drive and Irvin Street. Now this park right here is actually a 106-acre sports complex. Get this, for all my sports guys out there, sports families, sports women, whatever, kids, they're gonna have five softball fields, 4 baseball fields, batting practice cages, my boys would love that. They're gonna have 2 tennis courts, 12 pickleball courts, and 2 soccer fields. Construction is expected to start in the spring of 2026. Here, I'll zoom in and kind of just show you what's going on here. So you can see the baseball fields over here, and you can see the softball fields over here. They got some soccer fields, and this looks like it's possibly going to be the pickleball courts over there. So we do have a really nice park coming into League City. This looks more of like some strip centers over here. Amazon, there's a massive Amazon warehouse right across the street from Tuscan Lakes on Highway 96. So they are preparing to open, if they have not opened already by the time you see this video. By the way, if you want to know where Tuscan Lakes is, or if you want to explore Tuscan Lakes, make sure you check out my Tuscan Lakes video. And I'll put a link in the description if I haven't already, so you can check it out. But anyways, they have tons of other stuff pouring in. And then the League City area is also going to have League City, Webster, Houston region towards Ellington. Tons of just aerospace engineering firms, you know, like Axiom Space is there, all that good stuff. So now let's move forward and talk about residential. Again, that's probably what most of us are here for, is talk about residential. But again, I just had to prove my point just to tell you that the commercial development here is just insane. And things are moving very quickly, investments starting to pop off, and this along comes, you know, residential with it. So let's talk about new construction communities that are coming here to the area. Now, when it comes to new construction, we have Westwood, Pedregal, Samara, Westland Ranch, Stedman West Tract, which is 800 acres, the Lloyd, and we have the Duncan Tract as well, which isn't on here. So this isn't quite updated, which we'll get to in just a second. And then I don't know why it says Georgetown. They need to update this and remove that, because Georgetown ended up being into the Friendswood, Alvin area, which we had just discussed. But check out this, 2,050 acres for the Lloyd, 800 acres for the Stedman West Tract, and the Westland Ranch, 838 acres. And then we also have Samara at 1,255. So this thing is popping off, you guys. It's going nuts. But the biggest one that's making waves right now, as of the making of this video, for new construction is going to be all about Legacy. Now, Legacy is opening up very, very soon, and I'll actually be one of the very first realtors out there to make a video so you guys can see firsthand what Legacy looks like in League City. But Legacy is built by a developer called Hillwood. It's gonna be an 805-acre master plan community. It's gonna have 1,630 homes, more than 100 acres of parks, and they're gonna have lot sizes of 80 foot and above. Prices are gonna range from $300,000 all the way up to over $1 million, just depending on how crazy you get with that. So now check this out. Hillwood, which is the parent company, will invest more than $200 million. And at full build out, the value of the community could be more than over $1 billion. Now check this one out too, another development coming in, and this is all, actually let me tell you this. So new announcement, Hines has proposed 2,600 homes on 1,776 acres in League City. So, and then here's the Duncan Tract that I just mentioned a second ago. But anyways, so what I'm saying is all of this is going to be on the west side of League City. My apologies. Right here, check this out. So just to put this in perspective, this is I-45, this is Interstate 45 that leads from downtown all the way to Galveston. Over here on this side, my friends, this is going to be East League City. Now this is pretty much built out, given, you know, there are some here and there, smaller communities, but look at the size of this. the East League City. This is where you're gonna find historic downtown League City as well. Now look at this. This is all where all of those new development communities are coming into play. Look how much land that is. That is a tremendous amount of land. That's almost, I don't know, maybe a quarter or a little bit more, maybe 33% of the entire League City itself, the city limit. I mean, this is huge. This is massive. So there's gonna be a ton of new development coming in this area. I'm gonna zoom in just so that, zoom in on that so you guys can see. I mean, this is crazy. And so this right here is actually gonna be proposed 99. So 99 is actually gonna float on through this just right here. So that is where Highway 99 is supposedly gonna end up being. I know they're clearing way, they're making land for it, but you could tell, I mean, things are really starting to pop off over here in the League City area. And so if I pull this up, you can kind of see where I'm talking about. So there's the Grand Parkway right there. So that's 99, and it's gonna eventually lead into closer to 45. But Legacy is gonna be right here. That's what I was telling you earlier. Westwood, they're about closing out right now. And then Westland Ranch still has tons of opportunities too. So we have Westland Ranch open, Legacy is about to open, and then you have all of these areas that are about to open as well when it comes to new construction. This area, my friends, is about to explode with tremendous growth. And here's what I always tell you guys, and if you watch my channel quite a bit, you'll always hear me say this. Now, if you plan on purchasing a new construction home, the best time to do that is whenever the development very first begins, typically in phase 1. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked that. It's a great question. That is simply because as time goes on, the builders will in fact, and I promise you they will, every opportunity that they get, they will increase their base prices on the models that you choose. So every model is going to have an increase in price. So they might have like a grand opening, right? And they may start at $350, okay? Let's say you select that $350 model. And we're not even going to talk about going to the design center and racking up a further bill, and you come out of there, you're at $390 or $400. Let's just say you took it at the base model, $350, you did nothing to it, just $350 base model, and you got it with all the whatever it came with, right? All the standard stuff. So that same model, let's say by the end of that particular development over time, let's say 5 years or 10 years, the builders will have pushed up so much and built up so much equity for you that you didn't have to do anything. You just let the builders raise the prices. So if they raise the prices, then you're sitting on a good, massive amount of equity come time the development is at full completion. And you know what? I just caught myself because I did not actually talk about the Volkswagen dealership, even though I did say that in my intro. So check this out. On the Gulf Freeway, which is 45, the largest working Volkswagen dealership in the world is gonna span over 78,300 square feet with more than 45 service bays. So if you're into Volkswagen, there you go. They have the largest Volkswagen dealership is in the world is going to be there, my friends. So as you can tell, this area is not just primed for opportunity, there is opportunity and it's coming, whether you like it or not, whether you are a local here in the area or whether you're just moving into the area or you're thinking about moving to the area, it doesn't matter, it's coming. So you can be ready or you can not be ready. It doesn't matter, it's gonna happen no matter what you say, no matter what you think. But if you wanna get in on a development when it first starts, before things start exploding, get in while you can because it ain't gonna last too long. All right, now let's move on to another suburb that is experiencing tremendous growth, and that is gonna be none other than Fulshear. Now, Fulshear, Texas is actually gonna be located on the west side of Houston, Texas, and it's gonna be south of Katy. So you remember, if you watch my channel, you will know how the freeways basically intersect everything and how I dissected it all and showed you where it was. So it's gonna be south of I-10. And now what's interesting about Fulshear is Fulshear has been experiencing tremendous growth and it is still rapidly growing right now. It has actually been named as the top #1 fastest growing city or fastest growing suburb. And so there are pretty much, there's a ton of popular developments coming up or have already been here. Now Cross Creek Ranch is a popular one that I've covered on this channel before. Then they have Cross Creek Ranch West. They're gonna have Jordan Ranch, which I've covered, amazing community there. Then they have Fullbrook and then Fulshear Run. And then there's a few other smaller pocket neighborhoods. Now what's interesting about Fulshear itself is it is so close to Katy, and so it's not uncommon for me to I receive calls from clients just like you that will tell us like, hey, I want to move to the Katy Fulshear area. So while some of these may be considered like the greater Katy, but it's not technically Katy, it's technically Fulshear. So it's very interesting. But nonetheless, they have some serious stuff going on. And there's a massive master plan community, which I'm going to get into and tell you about, where there's not a whole lot of information on this as of yet. One of the neighborhoods I'm going to mention, but it's definitely noteworthy because this thing is going to be probably the biggest community that I have ever seen out in the Fulshear area. So let's kick it off and talk about the commercial aspect of this thing first. Now, Fulshear is experiencing rapid growth, and with rapid growth is going to come commercial development too. So if you take a look at my screen right now, when I first watched this kind of took me for a little doozy. I was a little bit dizzy watching this of how the 3D rendering. So this is actually called Fulshear Central. It's a 22-acre mixed-use development that's promising upscale retail, dining, and office space. It's gonna have 70,000 square foot of some retail space, 55,000 square feet of office condos, and a boutique hotel, which is always nice. And this is gonna have more than 7 acres of parks and green space, which is definitely needed, especially with all these developments, and then more than 20 miles of connected trails. So you can kind of see this rendering here. It just takes you through the overall project of what they plan to do here in Fulshear Central. And also, I will leave a link in the description box down below to, that way you can explore all of these as well. I'm getting all my resources basically from the government websites and from just various websites for like community impact, for example, just to kind of display everything here. So I'm not just talking off the top of my head of guesswork. I'm actually pulling this information from these websites. Now, Fulshear Central is going to be really cool coming to the community. And then what's also noteworthy, by the way, is by the time you watch this video, it may or may not already be open, but Jordan Ranch is actually going to get their very own HEB. And for those of you who don't know what HEB is, well, when you move to Texas, you're gonna find out. It is our go-to grocery store, our grocery shopping center. Nobody likes Kroger down here. We all go to HEB. It is a staple here in the state of Texas. So HEB is coming into Jordan Ranch, which is also very, very cool. So now let's go over to the Founders Hill. So Founders Hill is another commercial development here in Fulshear, and you can kind of see they have some statistics going on here. But Founders Hill is going to be a 33-acre mixed-use hub. It's going to have retail, it's going to have dining, it's going to have all kinds of stuff here in the region. They do have a 3D rendering model as well, but here you go. You can kind of see this this development here of what it's supposed to look like as far as like the master plan or the site map. But anyways, it's gonna have 33 acres of mixed use, like I said, retail, dining, and entertainment concepts with office space, as well as some shaded courtyards. This is gonna be very bike friendly. It's gonna have bike friendly walkways and 5 acres of green space for residents to enjoy. So it's definitely gonna be a good spot to hang out and just maybe grab a bite to eat, grab something to drink, or do some retail shopping. It's that shopping, it's the shopping itch, however you say that. Now, the next thing I want to mention is going to be the Fulshear Lakes Marketplace. Now, this thing is actually going to be pretty cool. It's one of the first commercial developments in progress near a Fort Bend County community, which is going to be Fulshear. So this is basically a rendering of what it might look like. It's a Richmond company, and it's a commercial real estate company that will build the first ever town center in the rapidly growing Fulshear community, which is also really cool. It's going to have 4 multi-tenant retail buildings, as well as walkable spaces, an entertainment area, and outdoor patios to enjoy. And it's gonna be over 45,000 square foot of just pure awesomeness. And then another commercial development coming to Fulshear is going to be Fulshear Crossing. So if you can see on my screen, Fulshear Crossing is, Fulshear approved another major commercial development off of McKinnon Road. Now, this one is actually going to have commercial retail and office buildings. It's going to be about 16 acres with flexible office spaces for Fulshear businesses, and it's going to have an additional 4 acres there. And then here's what's interesting as well. It's going to have senior living and assisted living facilities for all of your elderly family members, or those of you who just maybe want, if they do have like an active adult community, but this is more of a commercial space. So more than likely it's going to be assisted living and like memory care units or something like that. But you can see here, commercial retail, flexible office spaces, senior living and assisted living facilities, 8 acres, and they're going to have storm management and detention areas. and then you're going to be pretty close to the future Fulshear City property for public works. So definitely really cool. At least, you know, this area, this whole video is really about the areas that are exploding, not something that has already exploded, like Katy proper, for example, or Cypress, or, you know, the Woodlands, right? All of that has already exploded. So this video is purely just about what is happening in our area. And so, like I said earlier, the major commercial developments that are happening, you know, there's also going to be massive residential communities. So let's talk about that. So the first one that I want to tell you about is going to be something called Twinwood. So Twinwood, check this out. My jaw dropped on this one. 16,800 acres. It's gonna be the largest development in the area. More information's coming on that soon, but here, let's look at this rendering right here. Look at this. So this is all, I'll try to zoom in for you a little bit. So you can see there's Jordan Ranch. Well, here's I-10, first of all. There's I-10, Katy Freeway. Then you have Jordan Ranch, which again, I've covered that. Tamarin, covered that. Cross Creek Ranch, I covered that in a video where we actually walked through some of these houses. Then there's Full Brook. And then check out, look at this. This is insane. This is how big Twinwood is supposed to be. Wow. That pretty much covers all the way from I-10 down to West Park Tollway. That is how massive this area is supposed to be. So 16,000 is what it said, 16,800 acre development. Now, if that doesn't scream explosive growth, I don't know what will. Now, obviously the 16,800 acres is going to come with a tremendous amount of commercial development too. So you're gonna have your retail centers, you're gonna have a grocery store. I promise you it'll pop up somewhere between now and the time that's all fully completed. It's gonna be there for a long time. Think about Bridgeland in Cypress, Texas. Now, Bridgeland is another, you know, 10,000 or 20,000 home development with mixed use commercial development as well. And it's taken them a very long time to do it because the project is so extremely massive, and there's retail all over the place. There's grocery stores, there's fast food restaurants, there's restaurants and chains and everything. So you're definitely gonna be good. It's not like you're gonna be out in the middle of nowhere. This area is going to develop and become an amazing area to be in. Now, the next development that I do want to tell you about is going to be Hines, or not Hines. Hines is the developer, and they actually just acquired 3,000 acres for another master plan community here in Fulshear. Now, this is going to be, so here's 3,000 acres, and it's going to consist over 7,000 homes with a variety of lot sizes and numerous estate lots to accommodate diverse preferences. They've partnered with multiple builders in the area, including Toll Brothers, which is a great builder, Perry Homes, amazing builder, by the way, Highland Homes, great builder, Village Builders in Lennar. I'll save my thoughts on that. And then we have Coventry and Weston and Newmark. I love a good Newmark home. And Coventry also has some really beautiful homes and floor plans as well. And then of course you're gonna have Beezer there too. But construction is expected to begin early 2025, but we are almost to 2026 and there's really not much information about this yet. So I'm wondering if they've broken ground, but the lots will not be delivered. See here, it says with the first lots delivering in 2026 and homes from builders to follow thereafter. So 2026, this video is supposed to be about 2026. Yes, I get it, but 2027 won't be too far. And I bet you they might, depending on where they're at in the project, they might actually start pre-selling lots. So we could put this down as a 2026. Either way, it still ties in together with how explosive or the growth that is coming to Fulshear, Texas. Now, this next one really isn't about Fulshear, but I thought it was noteworthy to add in. If you take a look at my screen right now, Tesla plans a $150 million battery factory in Brookshire. Brookshire is just a little bit further west past Katy, off of Katy Freeway or I-10. Now, what's really amazing about this is it's gonna bring in some jobs into this specific county of Waller County that is much needed. So really important, let's say a really important figure on this total salaries over a 10-year period, indirect and direct, is over $1 billion. So this is going to have a huge significant impact on the Brookshire area, south of Waller County and the Waller County in general. So let's take a look at this. I thought this was interesting, and what they're saying is the commissioner said he was pleased to hear that the mega factory project would bring jobs, providing a wide pay scale range. He said Tesla expects to offer approximately 1,000 jobs that pay over $50,000 annually, 300 jobs that pay over $60,000 annually, 150 that pay over $100,000, and then 50 jobs that pay over $150,000 annually. So this area of Brookshire, first of all, I got married in Brookshire. So Brookshire is a very beautiful part of the west side of the Houston suburbs. So it's very nice out there, but it's also very country. And there's really not a whole lot of development out there. So I think this is going to be something that we need to keep an eye on when it comes to Brookshire, because Brookshire is beautiful. And if Tesla's coming in, there's probably going to be some other major companies following suit, along with additional residential master plan communities. So definitely worth keeping an eye on. All right, so now we're gonna bring it back a little bit further south or southwest, and that is gonna be none other than Richmond, Rosenberg area. Now, Richmond, Rosenberg, I'm also gonna tie in a couple in this area as just Fort Bend County in general. Now, what I want to talk about first is the residential. Now, the residential over here, there's some serious stuff going on in Richmond. Let's talk about one of the more interesting neighborhoods or concepts that I've seen in a long time. That's going to be Indigo. So if you take a look here, Indigo is a very interesting neighborhood because look, here's what it says. Indigo brings urban sensibility and walkability to the suburbs. Now, one thing that I hear a lot from people who aren't from around here that do relocate to the Houston region is how much they hate this area is unwalkable. Like, you have to drive a car everywhere you go. And to me, that's just normal because I grew up here, I live here, everything that we do is here. And so we just get in our car, especially because we live in the suburbs, you just get in the car and you go drive to the grocery store or you go drive to the gas station. But I think they're trying to change this with this neighborhood called Indigo out in Richmond. So look, it says they're bringing walkability to the suburbs. That means you'll find our community features to be conveniently located no matter what home or street you choose to live on. Indigo Commons is centrally located. Our urban farm is just down the street, and you'll be able to hit the trails, hang out in the mews, our playful, car-free, green area, and kayak on the lake. And so this is interesting. So they're gonna have their own little town center. This is what their town center is gonna look like. So that you could walk there. There's gonna be, some of it's gonna be a non or car-free zone. And then the neighborhood itself is gonna be compact, I guess you could say. It's like, it's kind of like its own little city within the city, which is interesting. And they're also gonna have a lake there. It looks like the lake is gonna be over 40 acres, 25 of which are devoted to postcard perfect water. So that's pretty interesting. And then amenities there, they have this little golfing area or a putt-putt golf, so you can play some golf with your friends. They're gonna have outdoor areas and walkability. Again, they're putting emphasis on walkability for this neighborhood. I mean, look around. This is pretty cool. So at Indigo, we've taken special care to integrate as much safe connectivity as possible for our residents to get around on foot, bike, or whatever wheels that keep rolling without getting into your car. That's interesting. So the whole neighborhood, the whole concept is just getting around without having to drive a car. And when I was looking at you can kind of tell here what it might look like. But they're gonna have homes here. They're gonna have like what I call row houses here. Or patio homes. So they're gonna have different things. What I've noticed though, it's smaller type of homes. They're not gonna be massive. So let's check out some of the homes that they're building. So David Weekley is building on a 35-foot lot. That is a small lot, you guys. That is small. You can tell the house is probably small as well. David Weekley, 50-foot. Now 50 foot's generally pretty, standard size. And we have a 40-foot lot here. So you could just look at the homes though, the design of the homes. They're bringing patio homes to life is what their idea is. And then we have cottage homes. So you can see that this is all gonna be very compact. It's gonna be for a very specific type of clientele. It's not gonna be for everybody. Some people like to be spread apart. Some people wanna be involved in something like this where it's just it's like a city within a city, if that makes any sense. You don't have to walk far. You could probably get out your front door, shut the door, walk down the street, you get to the coffee shop, or you can get to some of the amenities that are in the area. But nonetheless, it's very interesting. And here's these little row houses. They're actually called townhomes, but I call them row houses because they're so close together. But if they were separated, maybe that would be a little bit more of a row house. I'm not sure. But anyways, I thought Indigo was something a little different for you guys to a little different from what we've seen so far in the Houston area. It's going to be about 235 acres. They're going to have 750 residential homes. We've already talked about the lake. We've already talked about some of the amenities that are going to come here in Indigo. The next two on the list here, I'll go ahead and highlight them for you, is going to be Harvest Green and Candela. Now, Harvest Green I have covered before on this channel. Me and Samantha have walked through Harvest Green. We've walked through some of their model homes, and they have some beautiful high-end luxury out there as well. Harvest Green is a very awesome community. And Candela, we also walked Candela as well. So I'll go ahead and skip those, but just know Richmond does have amazing communities between those two, Harvest Green and Candela. Now, another one, which is interesting, it was supposed to be coming out in 2026, is the George. Now, the George is a 1,500 acre master plan community that's going to be zoned to Lamar Consolidated ISD, and is coming in 2026. So now this looks very familiar to Legacy out in League City. So this is the same website. I wonder if it's from the same developer. Let me see. Johnson Development. So this is very interesting. So the George is going to be, you can see right here the location. We have Sugarland, Richmond, and Rosenberg. You know, I'll try to zoom out here just a second so you can see it. There's Houston, there's 59, Sugarland, Richmond, Rosenberg. So it's gonna be a little bit south of Rosenberg and Richmond. But this community is gonna be pretty cool. 1,500 acres at the intersection of 2977. With convenient access to nearby dining, retail, and major employment centers. So can't wait for this one for the grand opening, because when this opens up, we are going to be one of the very first ones there to explore this community with you. Okay, next up is something that a lot of people have been waiting for, and that is none other than Austin Point out in Richmond. Now, Austin Point is going to be a massive development. We're talking 4,700 acres. It's going to have over 10,000 single family homes. Yes, you heard that right. It's going to have over 10,000 single family homes, 4,000 multifamily units, and over 1,000 acres of parks and open spaces. It's going to have over 17 million square feet of commercial opportunity that includes corporate campuses, it includes hospitality, healthcare, life sciences, advanced manufacturing, technology, retail, all of that. And the potential, it does have the potential to support up to 50,000 people. This neighborhood's actually gonna have a very wide range. Let me see if I can pull this up. It's gonna have a wide range of builders here and sizes of the homes, which I thought was very interesting. It's literally something for everybody. So this is on their website, housing diversity. Homes at Austin Point are designed to appeal to people of all lifestyles and all stages, with different home types seamlessly connected in an integrated development pattern to create interesting streetscapes, social integration, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what's interesting is they're gonna have homes ranging from 800 square foot cottages to over 4,500 square feet single family homes. Now this one here says homes ranging, this is probably single family homes ranging from 1,500 to 4,500, but they are gonna have some cottages there as well, with the potential for active adult, build to rent, townhomes, multifamily apartments, and other specialty residential products in response to the consumer demand. So if there are a lot of people out there who do want the 55 and up gated communities, it's gonna be there. But check out some of these builders that's gonna be in Austin Point. This is gonna be freaking amazing. We're gonna have Ashton Woods, Good Builder, Beezer Homes, Castle Rock, David Weekley. Now this one, when I saw this, Drees Custom Homes on a 35-foot lot. I have never heard or seen Drees build on a 35-foot lot before, so that is very interesting. Now Drees Custom Homes are a semi-custom home builder. Now they can actually move some walls around for you, or if you don't like this being there, they'll do it. They'll work with you to move some things around. Now they're also gonna be building on a 70-foot product as well. Then we have Newmark on a 45, Perry's on 40 and 60s, And then we're gonna have Weston on 40 and 60. And then William David is a custom home builder too. Super excited. I actually toured a William David home in Cane Island in Katy. So if you're interested in looking at that one, or if you wanna look what Cane Island is, Cane Island is built out. There's no more new construction left in Cane Island and Katy. However, if you wanna see what life is like living in Cane Island, north of I-10 in Katy proper, make sure you just watch that video. It was a great video, and we did tour a William David home, beautiful custom home. So talking about phase 1 of Austin Point, it's actually gonna have about 400 homes. So we'll take a look at this master plan for phase 1. So phase 1 at Austin Point brings you the unique works of 9 exceptional builders offering over 400 homes with electric architecture in a variety of sizes to suit any style. So here is the plan. Now you can see here on Austin Point's website, the master plan for this. So you have alley loaded homes, which I thought was interesting. We don't really have alleys down here. It's not a thing in the suburbs. It's more of something we might see in Dallas, for example. But they're gonna have alley loaded homes in Austin Point, and they're gonna have front loaded homes in Austin Point, ranging from, look, 3,100, 1,300 square foot. They're gonna have 4,500 square foot homes, so very interesting. And then the 1824. Now the 1824 is gonna be a quite relaxing place. I wonder if that can see any additional pictures. Yeah, so here's what the 1824 is gonna look like. Now the 1824 is gonna be a relaxing place to really just enjoy some coffee while working remotely, or to gather with your friends or your neighbors there. And right in this backyard, residents will find an outdoor concert. They're gonna have an event lawn. They're gonna have extensive children's play area, a beer garden, a food truck court, man. And you know me, if you watch my channel, Smith and I love some good tacos and some food truck food. It is amazing. Now they're gonna have plenty of spaces out. They're gonna have plenty of space for outdoor fitness and games. So it's just an interesting concept because the development follows the neo-traditional town planning principles, such as no grid-like streets, no cul-de-sacs, and alley-loaded homes to prioritize the walkability and mix of uses to provide access to services while supporting pedestrian-centric living. So if their whole concept is walkability, hey, it kind of reminds you of Indigo. This place is exploding with growth, and it is primed for opportunity for you to come in and call this place home. And what I want you, I guess what I keep coming back to over and over again is, when was the best time to plant a tree? The answer should have been 30 years ago, right? Now, when is the next best time to plant a tree? Today, right? So if you're wanting to come in an area that is in the process of being developed, you're gonna be sitting pretty 10, 15 years down the line, or maybe even 5 years down the line. Because like I said earlier, those builders are going to increase their costs. They're gonna increase their base model plans, their pricing. They're gonna increase everything they can when they can. So by the time the development is over and completed with, you're sitting on a massive amount of equity. And that, my friends, is how you create wealth through real estate. Okay, now just outside of Richmond, heading back north on 59, is going to be near the Sugar Land area, which is interesting. So this is actually called Rye Hill. So this new development, a lot of people in that general southwest side of Houston are looking forward to Rye Hill and Sugar Land. Now from Taylor Morrison's side, it's showing that it's Richmond, Texas. So that's something to note. I think it might be a little bit of both, but I think it's really part of the Sugar Land ETJ, which is the extraterritorial jurisdiction, which is a mouthful. But it's going to consist of Pulte Homes and Taylor Morrison at Del Webb, and Del Webb, and it's going to have over 2,500 homes, 958 acres in Sugar Land's ETJ, 60 acres dedicated to retail and commercial and office space. And this is the only remaining tracts available in Sugar Land, which is awesome. So there's really not a lot of opportunity. Sugar Land is built out, especially if you watch my Sugar Land video where we covered the full vlog tour. There's really nothing left. There's no land left to build. So the fact that they were able to pull this off is remarkable. Now, what's also interesting is in this community, they're gonna have a baseball field, they're gonna have pickleball courts, they're gonna have soccer fields, fitness centers, they're gonna have a recreational pool, lazy river, adult oasis pool, splash pads, I don't even know how to say that, bokeh ball, cornhole, playgrounds, and walking trails. So this is what the amenities are supposed to look like. So you can see we have our baseball fields here, pickleball courts here, or tennis courts. Then we have this nice little lazy river around here, a lap pool, and then just a general pool here with a nice centered area to hang out, and probably a pavilion looks like underneath there, or covered shaded area. And then it looks like we have some soccer fields here and probably a massive clubhouse. So definitely something worth keeping an eye on. Now again, that is Rye Hill, and they plan on opening at the end of this year of 2025. However, they may be a little bit backed up on schedule, so they may be opening at the beginning of 2026, and that's what this video is all about. Now, another interesting thing is entering into 2026 is going to be the Del Webb Sugarland at Rye Hill. Now, this is going to be a gated section for residents that are the active adult community, so 55 and up. So those of you who are looking for an active adult community, it's also going to be gated, which is super nice for that extra layer of security and peace of mind. So if you're looking for a 55 and up active adult gated section, you're going to look at Del Webb Sugarland at Rye Hill. Okay, and another master plan community is gonna be, we're gonna go back down south to Rosenberg, which is just past Richmond, so it's all the same area in my book. But anyways, Rosenberg has a new community called Brookwater. Now, taking a look at my screen, Brookwater, it kind of looks like it's out in the middle of nowhere, which it is, it's kind of out there. But right now, if you were to purchase a home out there in Brookwater, you get that country lifestyle setting or environment with not being far at all from big city perks and big city amenities. It's just a stone throw and a hop down the street to get into Richmond area. But they also have all of their own stuff down there in Rosenberg too. So it's super awesome. It's 850 acres. And if you want to look at what Brookwater actually looks like, or what models that they have available, and rather than just looking at the website like this, you could definitely check out the video for the Brookwater community that we did out there in Rosenberg. We walked through some of the cheaper floor plans. That was the concept for that video, or the idea behind that video is how cheap can these new construction homes actually get. And you might actually be surprised with what we were able to find. So make sure you check out that video. Nonetheless, this area is blowing up. I mean, Brookwater is like, just Rosenberg in general is going through some huge growing, I wouldn't say growing pains, but they're growing tremendously, which is crazy. So out in Brookwater, you have Ashton Woods, Brightland Homes building on 50s and 60s, Chesmar building at 45 and 60s, David Weekley 45 and 60s, Highlands on the 40s, Perry on the 40s, Weston on the 55s, and Taylor Morrison on the 45s. So let's take a look at some of the amenities that are going to be here in Brookwater. Now, this neighborhood is brand spanking new. There's really nothing there. They do have some model homes, but other than that, there's nothing in this neighborhood. And again, I'm telling you, the best time to get in a new construction community is at the very beginning in phase 1. So you can kind of tell here what this looks like. So this is just some 3D renderings of what the area is going to be. So you have your clubhouse here, you have the lake there, some walking paths and trails. Looks like we have a nice little lazy river and a zero beachfront entry. Then we have some playgrounds here. It looks like an outdoor pavilion or amphitheater, but you can kind of get the idea. So this area, they are pumping developers and just, residential developers and commercial developers are just pouring and just dumping money into these areas. And that's why I thought it was critical to improve Richmond and Rosenberg and Fulshear and League City and Friendswood. There's a big reason, right? You have to understand the reason why. Why are these people putting money into these areas? That's because they believe that it's just primed for opportunity and growth right now. And so they are wanting to do that. They're pumping these money, they're pumping it in there. And plus, on the west side of Houston, there's really nowhere to go, right? Everything's built out, so they just keep moving further and further out. But the fact that League City and Friendswood is also experiencing growth, which it already has exploded, and they're finding new ways to add in additional communities, that is crazy. And there's also a lot of commercial development going on in that area too. But nonetheless, I truly hope you found some sort of value in this video. There was a lot to cover, and there were some things that I just couldn't simply get to today. Otherwise, we would be here all day. But I think you get the idea. There's tons of commercial coming in these areas that I mentioned, and then there's tons of residential neighborhoods popping up all over the place. If you do plan on making a move to the Houston region, make sure you give me a call. I'll leave all my information in the description box down below. You can contact myself or Samantha. And you know what? Let me back that up. I had somebody the other day call me and says, you always say that. You always say contact me or Samantha. But what is your name? Great question. My name is Andrew Lake. I'm the owner and operator of Greystone Realty and the operating person with the Life in Houston YouTube channel. My wife and I do this together. We are the co-owners of Greystone Realty. We have our own brokerage. So anyway, now that I've introduced myself as Andrew, my name is Andrew Lake. My wife is Samantha Lake. So if you do plan on making a move to Houston, make sure you give one of us a call. Shoot us a text message too if you have any additional questions. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.